thank you once again for joining me on this intrepid YouTube adventure. And look who I have to talk to. It is the amazing Danny Farber, who, if you don't know who it is, you should know, because he has undoubtedly directed at least one or two or more of your favourite verticals. So I'm going to let Danny do a brief introduction to the internet of who he is.
Hello, Internet, and all of our Internet friends. My name is Danny Farber, and I am director of a lot of the verticals that you love, which Jen just mentioned. But I do want to say, before we get too crazy into all the lore of it all, how amazing you are, Jen, for building all of this out of your kitchen and putting this, like on your back. You've created an entire niche of fans. I mean, the fans were already there before you were there, but you've given people a chance to watch some of their favorite programs and give them some admiration. And you're mentioned on the BBC. You just had the Vertical Drama Awards. Like, all of that is above and beyond what I think people in other spaces are doing. And the fact that you are an integral part of our community is like, it's very exciting to watch your page grow and see your journey. So more so than anything that we make for you, like, you're somebody that we all talk about and that we love. So thank you for doing your stuff.
God, so yeah. Is it all right if we go straight into verticals? Because I just think we have so much to talk about. I know we
have so much ground.
Your background, but I kind of want to really dig into vertical life, and then also obviously your acting as well, and sort of how it all meshes together, and your music and meshing it all together.
Jen, it's your show. Whatever you want to do, I'm happy to be here.
It's my show. Brilliant. Right, I love that. Am I right in thinking that your first vertical was actually one of Noah's first verticals, which is Love by Contract?
It was both of our first verticals.
So, how was that as a baptism of fire? What was it like?
It's a great way of putting it. Love by Contract is on Good Short with Rachel Coops, who I don't know that she's done too many verticals outside of that, but she's a phenomenal actress. Mm-hmm. So talented, so fun. And Noah Fernley's, I think, first ever vertical, which was just great and really fun. It was a cool opportunity because when we shot it, it was October of 23. So it was like pretty, new to the States here in America. I think the first couple started to roll out end of 22, beginning of 23. So we were like right at the beginning of all of it. And having been a director in the film and TV space for the last, now it's been 11 years. That was probably like 9 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. I just kind of approached the whole project as just any kind of indie feature. And, I come from Chicago where we call it indie feature season because in the Chicago months, you film all year round, but like when it gets nice and summery, you have like a little window of like, we're making our features. We have 90 pages. We have 3 weeks. We're doing it or whatever the constraints are. And that was funny because that was like, I got the call after I put my portfolio out there and my reel out there. And I was speaking with a production company called Astra Filmworks. And Phil Radutsky's the producer. And Phil's great. And he kind of knew a little bit more about the space. And he looked at my reel and my portfolio and it said, we start in 6 days. And it was 80-something pages. And I was like, we should get off the phone right now so I can start prepping this thing because we have 6 days to start. And he goes, so you're in? And I was like, yeah, dude, let's go. And that baptism by fire is the perfect way of describing it because it was far from smooth. It was tricky. It was complicated. It was incredible. It was fun. It was hard. It was funny. It was difficult. It was kind of we really ran the gamut on that one of like things that worked and learning things that don't work. And a lot of it, unfortunately, is, sometimes it's trial by fire. And as a director, there's such a responsibility to administer a vibe on set, as well as, hey, it's your job to catch the story. It's your job also to make sure everybody's having a good time having the story. And, I think that was a really eye-opening experience to understand that, like, I hold the facility and the capabilities of doing so, of running a crew, and also being able to take an audience on this journey with a cast and crew who had no idea what verticals were, myself included. So it was really the blind leading the blind a little bit.
Just for people to understand, what is the big thing, if you learn one thing, if you're a director and then looking at moving into verticals, like what's one key thing you need to know, like that you should do, and a key thing you shouldn't do? Like, what would you say two of your biggest learnings are?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's just two. Yeah, I think I'd say that, like, as a director, a great thing to understand, it is so much about what you present the audience is what they're going to get. So, oftentimes, especially at the beginning, now I think the scripts are a little bit more understanding the production scope of things, but not always. But if it says in the script that it has to be this, Florida window ceiling, Florida whatever ceiling windows and the grand ballroom and the chandeliers, and it's written so specifically, but your production budget and your locations and constraints just don't have that. If you find something that captures that same aesthetic and that same vibe, nobody's going to know that you didn't have the chandelier when the script said you need the chandelier. Like, nobody's going to know that. There's been a couple instances, whether it's intimacy scenes, whether it's graphic language, whether it's supposed to have a red scratch on her face after. In those kind of things don't make the cut or don't make on camera on set either. That as a director, it's great to understand that, like, the audience only knows what you give them. So don't lose sleep over the fact that, well, it said that her neck was supposed to be red after the necklace got ripped off of her neck. If it didn't make any sense in the moment doing it, don't worry about putting special effects and the red and the thing, because it's not going to, if it doesn't read, it doesn't read. It's almost going to overcomplicate things. So that's a really long-winded answer of saying that, like, just you are the conduit to what the audience sees. So just focus on what you can and lean into that more than anything else. And then I think something to avoid doing as a director, especially on these verticals, because they are, really complicated sometimes, and they're really truncated shooting windows, and you don't always have the right budget or the resources, or an actor drops out the day of, and you got to find somebody new. Like, all of the things can go wrong, will go wrong, and I think it's really great and expected, I think, of a director to be able to roll with the punches. If you're not, on the fly figuring things out, you kind of have to be. I always say that directing is like you're solving a Rubik's Cube, but you're on top of a moving train as it's careening off a cliff and somebody's shooting bullets at you. And you're constantly just like, okay, all right, one thing at a time. Here we are. Let me avoid danger at all costs here while also completing the product.
And so that sounds like you need two things. It sounds like you need confidence in yourself that actually I know what I'm doing with the story. I'm going to drive it here. But also that seems like you need amazing stress management skills.
It's a way better way of saying what I said. Yeah.
But it does, doesn't it? About the fact, like, if you're, I guess, approaching it, trying to control everything, that sounds like you're setting yourself up for failure. So it sounds like, well, you need a vision, and you've got to go, this is what I'm going to try and deliver, but I am up for problem solving. We will work it out as we go along. Does that sound right?
I think that's absolutely right. And I think, there's a whole team of people that just want to get your vision together, right? Mm-hmm. And it might not even necessarily be your vision. It's the writer's vision. It's the producer's vision. It's the client's vision. Sometimes an actor will have a great idea and you want to incorporate that somehow. So you just have to be malleable. You have to be water. You have to just be like, okay, this isn't necessarily what I had in my head, but this might be better. And I have anybody that's been on set with me knows me for two things. It's best idea wins. Don't care who it comes from. Let's try the thing that I have set up first, because there's 8 other things that are hinging on this idea. Mm-hmm. And then looks great. Let's shoot. Let's not get caught up in anything. The best idea wins, and there's so much ground to cover. It looks great. Let's shoot. Let's move. I can spend all day lighting the space. I can spend all day getting your performance perfect. If it looks great, if it's there, if it's doing what it needs to do, we got to move on, because we have 1,000 other things we need to finish today.
Oh, that's an amazing approach. And then it obviously worked, because you have made a lot of verticals. Okay, so I'm just going to read them out and then get to the one I want. So the one that got away, which I think is an early Mark Herman role. Obviously, he's a superstar now. That
is an early Mark Herman role for Real Short, yeah.
Yeah, Look What You Made Me Do, which
I think is now The Accidental Billionaire's Bride or something.
They do like to change those titles. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to... an early Sarah Mliski role, Sam Myerson, JC as well. Boss, Your Wife Flew With Your Baby, My Ex-Husband Can't Spoiling Me, The Double Life of My Secret Husband. And then I think it would be fair to say, the one that I think sent you stellar, would you agree, is A Mistaken Surrogate for the Ruthless Billionaire.
I think that definitely helped. I think that was out of all the first 7 or whatever, were good. They were fine. They were nice. But I think A Mistaken Surrogate for the Ruthless Billionaire with Anna Del Russo, Robert Palmer Watkins, produced by Shen Lee, like, that one went dummy mega popular, and that was really, really exciting.
Because, I mean, you had so many things that just all come together in that one. It's so good. I mean, I want to talk about the cast first of all.
Sure.
I mean, Anna DeRusso, I think, is just phenomenal.
Awesome.
Her
So
ability
great.
to go from nothing to like
Oh,
vulnerable in
yeah.
pain in like a second is brilliant. I think it's one of Robert Palmer Watkins' best roles as well. I mean, he's great, but I think in this one, he's so good in this one.
Yeah.
But then I also love, I think it's Evan, isn't it? He's just like one of the, he is the best dirtbag boyfriend ever.
Yeah, dude. And casting Evan, it's Evan, it's not Fauci, but it's Evan Fauché, I think.
Yeah.
He's a great online personality as well, and he's great at TikTok and all the things. But it was seeing Evan and then Dorothy as our antagonist as well. Together, their chemistry as the baddies on this film kept everything just so like. Anytime you're away from your antagonist or your protagonist,
Yeah.
it's always a little bit of like, okay, I know the audience is here to watch these people. Let's really put ourselves in their shoes and make sure that they're still entertained in this. And with Evan and Dorothy together, they are so rich and like just really, really fun to watch play evil together.
And I'm such a huge fan of Dorothy Manine. I think she's like totally does not get what she should because she is a queen. But what's even best to that is the way that they interact with each other, because it's a brilliant thing where she basically totally pulls the rug out on Evan's character as well, and it's like you're full, which is great because you're always like you're too good for him, and she just takes him for everything. I think she takes the house, doesn't she? He's left with nothing.
She takes everything. She takes everything from him, and it's fun too to like visually. They're both so like. They're so attractive as people. They're like they're cut from marble. It's great, but also she's so short and he's so tall, and she'll always like snap at him and be like, "Ba-da-da-da-da-da," and then so he's got to like slink around and do. I always consider it as like little puppets on my director brain, and I just think it's so fun when you have somebody who has so much kind of firepower from such like a tiny package to then go and like make everybody else feel just as small. Always made me, and I think with that project. Our baddies were great. Our protagonists are great. Anna Del Russo, as we mentioned before, like can really drop into a moment. But she's also got this like really, really brilliant stillness about her, where I think oftentimes it's hard because you're getting a lot of different notes from a lot of people on the acting side. The director's telling you something, and the director has their idea, but also you got to understand that behind us, not always, but maybe 40 to 70% of the time, there's a client behind me. And the client's just is the executive producer, right? And as the creative executive, they are trying to keep their job at the studio. So they want to make sure that we're giving the best thing for the marketing clips, as well as the best thing for the story, as well as the best thing for the platform. So they have an idea of a performance. Producer might have an idea of a performance. Myself, I have an idea of a performance. The actor has an idea of a performance. And that was one where somebody like Robert Palmer Watkins or Anna were able to, we would throw things at them, like pretty like, okay, that was really, really great. I think we should lean a little bit more this way or really find confidence in that stillness. And so much, to the Good Short credit there, they gave us a lot of free reign on set to like, they trusted us where there'd be times where I was like, I don't need the over-the-top TikTok-y kind of performance that we sometimes catch in these verticals because they are so great at, getting people's attention and keeping people hooked. But like somebody like Anna and Rob together, it's like, let the silence speak for itself. Let that slow burn really play because that's what's interesting to watch. That, I think, is going to get people's attention more than taking it to an 11 and then, bringing it back.
And I think that's partly why... That's interesting what you said, because the TikTok ones might bring it in, so it brings the audience in, but you don't get the rewatches.
No.
So people who love that, they've watched that a lot of times. I've watched it multiple times.
Nice.
And I think that's one of the key things. I mean, it's kind of one of the ones I think, in the old days, if there'd been a DVD to buy, I would have bought the DVD of that.
That's really sweet. That's actually, I really appreciate that, Jen. I think that means a lot. And it's every project that I've done, I've never approached as like, well, it's just a vertical. I've heard people say that all the time. It's just a vertical. Hey, man, this is somebody's whole thing. This is what they're here to watch. This is like I like to treat it with respect because this is an opportunity for all of us as professional filmmakers, actors, as an audience, as people, buying these things, paying for the entertainment. Like, your job is, Lauren Michaels at SNL is like, you don't go on because you're ready, you go on because it's 11:30. Like, our job is to do the thing. So let's take it seriously. And I think, as you saw with the Mistaken Surrogate for the Ruthless Billionaire, which is a great title, it was one of those things of like, I don't care that if it's, people are watching it on their phones, I still want people to feel,
And I think also I want to talk about, one of the early scenes, because I come from Korean dramas and Chinese dramas, so there's certain tropes and certain cinematic elements I like. And I think, and they're coming over a lot more now this year, but I think you're one of the first directors to do the umbrella in the rain scene.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Which,
yeah.
if you watch Korean dramas and Chinese dramas, is like in all of them, and it's always epic, because no one does a better winter coat than a Korean drama and the lighting. And it's epic because it's properly, they've thrown Lulu out of the house. And it's particularly mean because I think she's got heart tablets, and the fact that they've like thrown them on the ground and she's scrabbling around for these things. And then you start thinking about American healthcare bills and all that, and it's all a bit stressful. And then obviously you just have this stunning lighting with the car in the dark and the rain. And then obviously Robert Palmer Watkins' character, which is, I'm looking at this, David, just turns up with the umbrella. And we know everything's going to be okay. But it's just, were you aware of that kind of history of all this Korean stuff? Or was it just that was in your head of like, this is what I want to make happen?
Oh, God, you can't give me that much credit. I really appreciate it. I think it was definitely, I had a reference video shown to me, I think day of, or maybe like a couple days prior, where there was a similar scene in the snow. And it was a Korean drama, and as he does a thing, and he lifts his head up, and it all falls so slowly and whatever. And I was like, great, I can do that. That makes sense to me. Noted. But then I remember, too, on that, because this is the funny thing with it, where it's like, all right, there's so many. Actually, give me 2 seconds. Let me see if I can find the actual script. Because there is. Sorry. Hilarious. It was actually called. I don't know if you can see that. Surrogate by Mistake is what it was. What we called it on set, I guess. Yeah. So, and there's all of my notes and all my stuff, whatever. So, within because I remember that was the first 20 episodes, and they're always like super, super specific with the first 20 episodes. Got to hit all these beats and whatever. And yes, here it is. Okay, so here's that scene. Let me just read some of it for you. All right. Exterior, Alex's house, doorway, nighttime. It's raining outside. So already we got to deal with the fact that it's nighttime. I got to light a whole space for night. I need a bigger lighting package. And Dan Farnham is my DP on that and a couple other projects. And he locked in. I met Dan Farnham on Love by Contract, the first ever vertical I did. He was the B-cam operator, and now we brought him up to the director of photography. He was our cinematographer, our DOP. So I was like, Dan, nighttime, rain rig, we're going to need the light, the firepower to do this thing. So not only that, it's exterior, Alex's house, doorway, nighttime. It's raining outside, and Lulu is standing under the water. She's just about to move forward when she hears Emery's voice. Emery says, "You forgot these trash." You forgot these trash? I don't know how she says it. Whatever. So Dorothy killed it. Lulu turns around and sees Emery standing there with several photo frames. Lulu takes a step back with her right leg and reaches out to grab the frames, but Emery suddenly tosses them all at Lulu. Lulu loses her balance, falls to the ground, her dress wet and sticky with mud. We didn't have mud, but it was okay. These photos are pictures of Lulu, Emery, and Alex, and there are raindrops on them. The contents of her handbag are also scattered on the ground, and a small vial of pills rolls to the side. Lulu's eyes well up with tears. She puts her hand over her heart with a pained expression. Lulu reaches for the vial on the ground. Alex comes out and sees this. He walks over, he picks up the vial on the ground, and throws it in the air. I have a note there. We got to throw it up, not out. I want to see the vial go stay in the frame best we can. I also have notes. Extreme close-up on Lulu's hand reaching for pills. Photos flying through frame. Lulu falling in 60 frames, which is slow motion. Pictures hitting the ground. I need that specific moment. I need water hitting the ground. I need it from the top down, and I want it from the profile. I want to get all these things of seeing these things hit the ground. I want to see the bag spill. I want to see the pills roll. And all of that is just this. And there's in this scene alone, there's so much other stuff. That's way before Rob even gets into this scene. And on top of the whole thing that we have to do in a little over a week. So we're there. I know it's going to be a big marketing moment. I know this is a pivotal moment of the script. I know this is important. And now, which isn't always a thing, but in this instance specifically, they showed me a reference video with the snow and so now it's the rain, and we're going to reveal our protagonist in slow motion in a very cool, exactly kind of a Korean style. We're up against, we had some daylight stuff, some nighttime stuff, so we're in full nighttime now. I have an actress who I love dearly, who's our number one, who we want to keep happy, who we want to make sure she's safe and comfortable under this cold, cold water. It's, I don't know, midnight. We have to get out of the house. We need to, we have 45 minutes left to do all of these things, and now there's a really specific thing that they've showed me that they want me to grab, and I'm responsible for getting all of the pieces. And I remember that was, if you go to my Instagram and about that project, it's somewhere in a carousel of stuff, and there was just a thing of like, I think I have the video as soon as we wrapped that night. It's just a selfie video of me going, all right, we got it, moving on, or like whatever the thing is. And it was, you can just see like how intense it was to get all of these teeny tiny moments. If you're shooting a movie, like a proper studio film, and you have months to make these things happen, you can spend 2 or 3 days doing that. We had maybe an hour and 15 minutes to get all of the dialogue, all of the eye lines, get the rain, get Rob coming out with that iconic thing. It was rough. It was really, but I'm really glad that like it worked so well, and we took the time, and that was a total team effort. That was costumes. That was with the warming robes. That was our producers, Shen Li again, who was like, we will give you the time that you need to make this happen. Just get this right, because Shen comes from the studio system, from Regency, from Sony. She understands how movies work, and as a collaborative partner on something like this, it was great to like have her trust and her back. She was like, whatever, if we go into a little bit overtime, we'll spend it here, we'll shave it off somewhere else. Like, we want this to work. So it was really, really just a wild experience, and that is definitely something worth checking out, because I got a couple other ones with Good Short coming up that I'm excited about. Because
that is phenomenal. So anyone who hasn't watched it, go and watch it, please. Just sort that out. And you will know that scene when you see it, because it will live rent-free in your head. So I just want to say thank you for all that work. It delivered. And not only did it deliver, but I think has now been copied, aped by a lot of other verticals, which actually must be that's the biggest form of flattery, isn't it? That everyone else
that's it, right? Like, everybody, great artists steal or whatever. Like, we copied it from somebody else too. But it's funny too, when somebody shows you something, like as a director, it doesn't come with like how they shot it. It's just like, okay, here's my interpretation as to what they did, and here's what I want to do with it. Yeah. So there is a little bit of that like ownership that you can take over this thing. Like, anybody who copied us doing it, they're going to have their own frame rate. They're going to want to style it at. They're going to have their own camera, their own lens size, their own like way to light it with the backlight and the car, all of the things. So there is a chance to put your own stamp on it, which is really exciting.
And the best thing is we just win as viewers, because it just means that I think once the vertical shows you can do that, everyone's like, right, we need to up our game. So we win as viewers. I want to stay with Robert Palmer Hopkins, because you then did so on to stuff that's come out this year. Obviously, you've had some great stuff out this year. Mistaken for a Gold Digger.
Yeah.
Which I love, because often I think Robert Palmer Hopkins often has played quite similar characters. Mm-hmm. He's often, I think, people are like, okay, he's really good at he reserved, and then he slowly melts. I was generally worried for his safety in Mistaken for Gold Digger. The amount of times he nearly falls over, crashes into things. It's a really good, fun little screwball comedy.
Yeah.
So much fun. And then also you've got Jessie Gallagher, who's just a hoot in it with her brilliant scooter. Could you just share some stories about that, basically? Tell me about that project, because it's fun. It's so much fun.
I'm glad that you like it. And that was, again, with Shen Li, who my creative collaborator on all these things. We shot it for Good Short with her production company, Ideally Projects. So if you guys like verticals, Ideally Projects is a great Instagram to follow, because that's Shen's thing. She's starting to direct herself now, but she produced that one. With Rob and Jessie Gallagher, we shot Mistaken for a Gold Digger during the fires in LA. And that was, hands down, I've never been more exhausted in my life putting that one together. And it wasn't complicated by any means. Like, legit, you're exactly right. It's a screwball comedy. Like, this is great. It's so fun to take something that's, we do all these really heavy stuff. And then I had just done this one called Adopting Her Past with Eric God damn it, I'll never get Guillemette right, but Eric, my man Eric Guillemette,
Yeah.
and
Alexa Reddy
Alexa
and
Reddy, exactly.
Bradley
Yeah.
Bradley Schatz. Is that right? How you
Bradley
pronounce it?
Schatz was in that. So we just wrapped that.
Yeah.
I went, okay, you want to hear scheduling of it, all of it? I went,
Yes. Tell
Adopting Her
us.
Past. The day after Adopting Her Past was Christmas. The day after Christmas, I went to Colombia for New Year's, just because Cartagena for New Year's. Highly recommended for everybody. The day I get back from Cartagena, we start location scouting for Mistaken for a Gold Digger. We are in prep for Mistaken for a Gold Digger for a little bit of time. We start shooting it on day 2 or day 3. The fires start, and we had to shoot up in Calabasas for 2 or 3 of those days. The first 10 episodes of that movie is in Calabasas, and that was after the fires were already rolling. We had to push our shoot dates, have all of those scenes happen at the end of the production schedule. We were constantly on the fly on that one. Like, Sangri Lee is a great producer on that. There were so many people that worked effortlessly and tirelessly to put these pieces together to support the project, because as it was happening, it's this big fun cast and ensemble of great people. Like, Joanna Hobby's a great baddie in it. She's so funny. You want that fun energy on screen, even if behind the screen everybody's pretty exhausted. Again, Dan Farnham was our DP on that. He's a full-grown man with a wife and 2 kids, and his house, it was next to the Altadena fires. So the fires had gone all the way up to his backyard, and his pool kind of saved the house. So he's not only a father and a husband and our director of cinematography, our DOP, he is now displaced while we're filming this movie too. So every day it's a constant check-in of are you good? Is your family okay? What are we doing? Is the air quality where we're filming going to be okay? Or should we move to Calabasas? Should we find another location? We're already 4 days in. What are we going to do? It's all of these really, really high pressure, intense moments behind the scenes that I think gave the actors an opportunity to just have fun for a second. And I know Dan Farnham too. He was every day I'd be are you okay? And he was this is an excellent escape because my family's okay. We'll figure out the house stuff. Everybody's still able to go to school. We're fine. This is a chance for 12 hours a day where I can flex creatively and not have to worry about some of the really difficult logistics that I have to do for the next 8 hours before I'm back here again. So it really came out of again, kind of a baptism by fire of okay, we've done all of these things so many times. We understand the tropes we're trying to hit. We understand how to make a movie, all these things. What's the best way that we can have fun while making this movie? Because the world is so kind of rough in this current moment in Los Angeles. And I'll never forget, I went Adopting Her Past, Colombia, Mistaken for a Gold Digger. The day after we wrapped day 9 of 9 for production. That one took 9 days. It was a heavier one. I was on the flight to Istanbul. And I go to Istanbul for 6 weeks to do the 2 projects. One more with Rob, and then both with Ashley and Molly. So I just didn't, for maybe 3.5 months, just didn't stop. And it was really, really high stress, high pressure. But the most iconic stuff of I remember there's an afternoon where we did all the montage stuff of them on the Vespa, on the scooter as they're scootering around. Mm-hmm. And I think it was my AD or somebody looked at me and they go, we got it. What are we doing? And I was I just need a second just to have fun shooting them riding a Vespa for a second. Give me another 5 minutes. Let me roll on. Hey guys, give me one more pass around. Let me just see you just ride the scooter and have fun. Let me get a different camera angle on it. And for me, I needed a second to just not have to think about all of the bigger picture of the thing. Mm-hmm. Let me just live in a moment, because I think that resonates in the film where you're just living in some of the happier times before Noemi's great in it. She comes in and she messes everything up. It's a really great cast of people in that one. Mm.
And that's really interesting that you said that about that. Actually, for while that was going on, some people were actually, this is an escape, because I spoke to Eric Guillemette. I had to, because Eric Guillemette, I need a bigger box with all his awards.
Oh my God, yeah.
But he also was it's an escape for us as well, because obviously we know that as fans we talk about that a lot. Life's pretty grim. Don't ever look at the news because you don't come away feeling better. Yeah. Blimey. And it's escape for us, but it's really interesting that it's actually, do you know what? It is a bit of a switch off for us, particularly that sort of storyline as well, where you can just tell everyone's having a ball. And the fact that you now know that was going on against that background, well done all of you. Just, it's brilliant.
Really, 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 really. And congrats again on Erica Met for winning your vertical legend. What if we have one coming out that we shot last November that still hasn't come out? It's called Boss Please Behave for Dream Short. And I think this is the month that it finally comes out with Kira Isley and Erica Met. And it'll be great.
Oh, excellent. So now I want to talk about Istanbul, because you did your double header. So I watched a lot of Formula One, so it's like that. It was like a double header in my head.
Yeah.
So the first one came out is Triple Life of My Accidental Husband. They're on Drama Pops. And you take Molly Anderson and Ashley Michelle Grant. And it's very clever, because in the first one, Molly Anderson is the heroine. Ashley Michelle Grant's the, oh dear, crazy woman. Yeah. And then it switches in the other one, which I think is fab casting for both of them. Right, I'm obsessed with Triple Life of My Accidental Husband.
You are? Okay, great.
But mainly because of an age. The interiors and that house with the roses. I'm sorry, I know we should talk about the acting talent, but can we talk about the interiors?
This is what geeks me out, yeah.
Tell me about the interiors, because that kitchen, and were those roses really there, or is that all put in afterwards?
Okay, all right, Jen, I love you're asking the right, now we're talking filmmaker stuff. I love the actors, yes, but let's talk about the craft. Let's talk about all of it. Okay, so let me back it up a second. So we're in Istanbul, we're in Turkey. I have no prior conception of Turkey or Istanbul as a production hub or kind of as a country. Just as American geography, we're limited, which is a bummer. The most incredible group of filmmakers I've ever worked with, head to tails, front to back. It was a big union crew, which is new because we work a lot of non-union projects here in the States. But we worked with their Netflix team, because Netflix is a big stage in Istanbul. So the resources, the money, the way that you can do it, you have a giant crew who's coming around who sees me as the director, which I am, but sometimes that holds a little bit more weight than others. And I think being, he's a director from LA, he's coming in, he's American, blah, blah, blah. It just had like a different kind of energy around, well, we want to do this, whatever you want, we'll make it happen. And I was like, now we can have some fun. Okay, what do we got? Granted, and if anybody knows Istanbul, this is, I think, a fair assessment of it. This is how it was broken down to me. 40% of people speak about 80% English. 40% of people speak about 40% English. 20% of people don't speak English at all. So already there's a language barrier for so much of what your communication is. That being said, Uzdu delalim Türkçe bilmiyorum. I did not speak any Turkish, I'm sorry. Biraz Türkçe, a little bit of Turkish. I started to pick up phrases here and there. So when it became time to do the roses, it became time to get these interiors, we're location scouting. We're driving all across Istanbul on 3.5 weeks of pre-production, which is kind of nice because it was, almost a month of I was in the country, in the land, getting to know the people, getting to know the culture, and then seeing our options of where to film both movies, because we're prepping 2 movies at the same time, basically. We get to that house, the SWAT house is what it was called. SWAT, S-U-A-E-T, SWAT. And at the SWAT house, I was like, okay, perfect for the exteriors, perfect for the interiors. Except for on this row right here of roses, again, you can check my Instagram. I had a really fun BTS of it. It was just on the normal of it all. Was fine, was great, was a beautiful, modern $3 million house, and we've seen it before, but this felt a little more residential opposed to a big palace. It was just like, he's got quiet money, which is great. We love that. But I want, he's a gardener. Let's make him soft. Let's make him sweet. Let's make him sensitive. Fill this whole bush up with roses. I want both sides of the frame, as far as the eye can see, roses, 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 roses. Our production designer, Kubra, came in, an hour and a half early that day. And just by the time I had gotten to set, it went from night to day in terms of like, wow, this is a real garden. We really made this thing pop. You know what I mean? We're there, we're sitting, but it's not just red roses, it's pink roses, it's white roses. It kind of, you have this feast visually for the eyes because, and this is what I always say, maybe this is a better note for the directors, but it's like, when your screen is this freaking big, you are competing with the outside world around you. So as colorful as you can make this screen, as much as you can just keep the eye on the phone, I want all kinds. I like primary colors. I like things to be poppy and bright and all these things. So we're able to like really hone in on what we're looking at. And that was a thing where we saw it on the day, and it was cool. It was great. We take these interiors because for me, I was like, if I'm going to get traveled 7,000 miles from home, I want this thing to feel great, to look good. If we have the access to a big union crew, and my main producer, the executive producer on it, Amut became like one of my best friends, like biggest brother there. He's the head of the production company that we shot it through, and he was like, whatever you need, we will make happen. And I was like, can we get the places that look like this is going to be? I want we got to capture this vibe of this true love story. And I remember as we were watching, footage on set, Amut, myself, Berkai, who's with Drama Pops, we all kind of looked at each other. We're like, this looks like the best Lifetime movie you've never seen. This looks like a CW show. It looks like a Netflix movie. And like it was credit to our DP, whose name was Emery, who's also union and the whole thing. Like it was so many people at the top of their game really put their love into both projects. But with the Triple Life specifically, that was the first out of the two that we shot together. We wanted those locations to pop because what a fun thing. At least for me, I got to come in and I got to go across the world. I want the world to look nice, And
I think it comes across. It's definitely, I would say, one of the best looking, as in the production.
Nice.
And just the richness and the lighting, and there's some beautiful scenes where Jenna and Adam are talking by a fire, and it's just the whole thing looks stunning.
You like the fire scene?
Yeah,
okay.
Sound as well. It's just, it definitely is another level. But also you do capture Turkey, which is quite nice as well. There's some lovely outdoor shots where they're by a lake, aren't they? Or some
Right, that was a whole stressful thing. Oh my God, that was a hard time to grab that because you don't have time to do company moves. We went out on lunch and we were like, because we were supposed to do it 2 days earlier, but it was raining really hard. And I was like, this scene can't be rainy. There's some scenes that are definitely rainy that like weren't supposed to be rainy, but we kind of leaned into it. But that I was like, it needs to be nice, it needs to be pretty. Well, we're at this other house now that we've lost that location. Can now go, and there's this pond nearby during lunch. Can I take my DP? Can I take wardrobe? Can I take the two actors? And I'll hold the camera. Like I will do. Let me just grab this, please. And to everybody's credit, we got it, and it's great. It's a great moment for the film, and so much of how that one looked. Let me just put that. So much of how that one looked was because everybody was so interested in making this feel as good as it possibly could.
Okay. Can we? I know you've got an amazing cast, but can we please talk about Aidan and Georgie, because that's got to be one of my all-time favourite characters in VertiCast.
Can I ask you? Okay, what do you love about Aidan and Georgie?
Okay, it is genius. Okay, so we're used to seeing in verticals that you have the scuzzy ex-boyfriend, and they're normally quite one-dimensional. There's a bit more in, as we talked about with Evan and Dorothy, because the two of them have this great dynamic. Aidan is just a hoot because, well, first of all, the fact that even when he's hugging her, he's sticking his money in the cash pot, trying to get the money. Yeah. Then the detail that he wants his podcast.
Yeah, for everything.
So accurate. It's such an intimate thing about every man wants his own podcast.
Yeah.
That is just like, and the fact that it then runs throughout it, and even when it's all going wrong, I think he's like kidnapped and he's been beaten, and he's still like, but what about my podcast?
What about my podcast? So much of that, not often in these, and let me just look this up just so I'm not getting anybody's name wrong here, because I will be pissed if I do. Hold on. This is where it's hard bringing a director onto these things, because I feel so responsible for like getting everybody's name right for all these things, which is totally fair and absolutely part of the job. Okay, Triple Life of My Accidental Husband. Yes. What is Catherine's last name? It was our Kathleen. Okay, cut that part out. Would be great. Lecanole? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I love Aidan. I love everything about that character, and that's so much a credit to our writer, Kathleen Lecanole, I believe we pronounce her name. She's a LA-based writer, which is interesting because so often these writers don't come from America, let alone California and Los Angeles. And it was so funny. Her and I hopped on a Zoom call, and I was like, everything you have here with Aidan is so funny. Like, I want to lean into the humor of all that. And I think what's so interesting with drama pops and with Istanbul, they are, so many of these verticals have a wonderful Chinese influence behind them, because that's kind of where a lot of the industry has come from. And drama pops is a peculiar one because they're Turkish, so they don't have that Chinese influence behind it. They don't have different generations of filmmakers that they're leaning on to kind of replicate the similar style. They're grabbing it from us on the American side, who now we're replicating it from the Chinese side, who, as we kind of go around, it's kind of become this like shifting, melting pot of everything. So if anything within the Triple Life of My Accidental Husband, namely Aiden's role in that world, feels so funny and so original, it's because that's original American storytelling in that. It's that, but my podcast is just like a thing that like I haven't seen in a lot of the other scripts, where on that one, it was like hats off to Kathleen for making him so funny, but hats off to Georgie for making him so likable. And there was a couple times on set where I was like, bro, we can't like you that much. You have to be a bad guy here. Like, you can't be, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I do get it.
But it was so funny that, like, yeah, you gotta love him, because like, what an idiot, but what a himbo is really what it is. Not the actor, but the character. And like, he has his whole song where he sings about
Okay, we need to talk about.
Okay. So
the song is possibly my favourite ever comedy scene in a vertical.
That was so much fun to film.
So I'm just going to tell people if they haven't seen it. So basically, he's the Scuzzball ex-boyfriend who's trying to get his podcast off the show, and he decides what he needs to do is he needs to propose to Jenna. So Jenna's sat working, she's got a job, she's working in the office, she's trying to get on with it. He turns up at the office, not only with a proposal, but then sings the most hilariously bad song, which includes something about he's lost his sock, but then that somehow relates to his love for her. So you have this song, he's fully committed, the words are hilarious, and then you just have Molly Anderson as Jenna's face just going, oh my god, what the hell, get him out, stop. And it's just genius. But I need to know about the song, because obviously you write music. Where did the song come from?
Okay, all right, that is funny. He wrote the song, we'll give him the credit. He wrote the lyrics of the thing. What happened was, on the table read, it just says Aiden sings a song. And so as, we're sitting we get to that part of the script and the read, and we're not in the right space, we're a table read with all the cast and some of the crew. And he goes, Aiden writes a song. And he looks at me and goes, what am I supposed to do? And I go, we'll talk about it, but write a song. And at the end of it, I remember something came up where I was like, I gave some like interpretation of what the song could be, very quick off the cuff. And at the end of it, I was like, give me like a little voice crack where you're try kind of thing, whatever the thing is. I just get that to like end our thing, and that will be the cue for Rob to come in and pull you over. Didn't think about it for the next 2 weeks. We're doing 1,000 other things. We get to that scene. Not only are we in the office, I thought it'd be fun to make it the Drama Pops office, the office of the app that we're watching the platform on. Just a fun little nod. Molly Anderson doing her work, best as she ever does. Some of the best ever do it. I love Molly. And as Georgie comes in and he does this thing, I remember I want anybody to hear the song until we started rolling, because I was like, just save the song for the take, save it for the take, whatever, because I want to know what it is too. And we're all just dying behind monitor. And Molly, I don't know how, that's a credit to Molly's acting skills for not breaking, because it was so funny. And I think the hard part was all of our background actors are Turkish, and like everybody's Turkish. So like only a handful of us who can understand it understood just how funny it was. But then Rob comes up, and then we have this perfect, like, it's a little crass, and I have no other way to label it other than the nut shot, where as he pulls him off, Rob then stands over him, and we're looking through Rob's legs to see Georgie right underneath him. It's just, like, so emasculating, so debilitating, and just so funny, because, like, who's this punk? What are we doing? You know what I mean? What a goober.
Can I just ask about Georgie? Is he American?
He is Balkan. He's from the Balkans. He has spent time in America. He spent time in the UK. He definitely has like a mixed European accent, but with American. I think the first 18 years he bounced around a lot. Some of it was in America, but I know that he lives in the Balkans now.
So yeah, we need to see him in more verticals.
He just did. He actually just DM'd me yesterday. Oh, what were you saying?
He's just such a talent. He just needs to be more. He's brilliant.
I just did I was DMing him yesterday, and he said that he did his first one in the Balkans, where they were like,
Ooh.
and I was like, let me know if you need a director out there, because would be happy to come out there.
That would be a very nice place of the world to go. Yeah,
Would be cool. Would be great. But that between Triple Life and my God, help me out.
Back Off, The Princess
Thank you very
Mind.
much. Thank you very much. Gosh, dang it. Between Triple Life and Back Off, those were two projects where like I had full ownership over casting, over everything down to like the prop in their hand. Like there's so many of these things where like as a director you're either given, all right, here's everybody, ready to go, have fun. And it's just make this work, make this make sense. And there's nothing wrong with that either. But with Istanbul, I really was able to like step in fully on like a studio director union side of things, where I was like, this person and that person, this person and that person, this person and that person, table reads, callbacks, chemistry tests, everything, all the way down to this bush. Let's make it a rose garden. All these things I'm so proud of both of those projects because I really was able to put like 100% of my directorial skills into these two things, best as you can, but doing it in another country in another language. I'm really happy that you like Georgie, because that was his first vertical, or maybe his second vertical, but his like third ever thing to act in. He's like very new to it because he's a model, and I was just like, I remember talking to Amut, and I was like, after our second callback with him, I was like, that's our guy. It might take a little bit to get him there, but he's so well worth the time it's going to take. And then I look at Sarada, our first AD, and I go, just pad his scenes a little bit on either side. And I don't think that's a weird thing to say, and I don't think he would mind me saying that. But I think there's like, I rather spend the time with somebody who's right for the role. They don't have to fall out of the box perfect. It's my job as the director to get him there. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy that like he resonates with people, because we tried this thing in post-production that I didn't really play the way that I would have liked it to, and it's in sometimes, and it's not in the whole movie, but there's like a weird like blinking sound effect to like whenever he says anything about his podcast or him being dumb that like is just supposed to like infantilize him a little bit more. And I don't know if that really came across the way that I was thinking about it, and then they had to release it, so sometimes you just gotta let it go. But there is that thing of just like, oh, baby boy, there's nothing going on up here, and for the character, he's no thoughts, just vibes.
Yeah. It's it's brilliant. So I want to talk now because Back Off, because if he needs the back off, because there's the exclamation mark.
Yeah, that's great.
Mine, which is doing very well. Same writer on Drama Pops.
Same writer, same team.
So yeah, you've got. I mean, it's just genius. It's like one of those slightly psychotic ones in that Ashley Michelle Grant is Pamela Ross, who is engaged to Connor Tui as Prince Matthew. Annoyingly, he's always absent, Prince Matthew, which really does not help. So she turns up, but we also have Molly Anderson in full-on mad mode, who has decided that she is his biggest fan, and so claims she is the fiancée.
Yeah.
And then Ashley Michelle Grant, she's just stuck in this hell of like, but I'm the fiancé, and no one believes it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it gets even more because there's a whole other layer about who's a certain designer and things.
Sure.
What I find hilarious is she's so awful. The character, Molly Anderson plays Misha. It's like I'm so shocked that like her manners are dreadful. Clearly, she's not the fiancée.
Right. Obviously, she's not royal. She's the board. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But there are some absolutely hilarious moments. First of all, I need to ask about the cake.
Yeah. What do you want to know?
You know about the cake, so we basically get caking each other, I shall say. Because Ashley Michelle Grant gives as good as she gets with that cake. How many cakes were there? Was it a one-take cake shot?
Well, let me tell you about the cake here. The cake, as it was written into the script, was a fountain.
Oh.
The cake didn't exist until 4 days beforehand. And it's February in Istanbul, which if you don't know, cold. Chilly, cold. I'm so protective over my actors on sets with everything. We done on the first movie, we put Molly in the rain rig, which was, who knows if that was the right call, but we have Molly in the rig for when she knocks on the door, and then she comes in and the thing, and then Rob lets her in. That was a very cold day. Molly's a huge trooper. We're now on movie number 2. They've been there for like 3 weeks. I've been there for like a month and a half at this point, whatever. And I was like, we're not doing water. We're not doing a fountain. She's supposed to get pushed in the fountain, and then she's supposed to drag her into the fountain, the whole thing. We found the perfect house. We just didn't have a fountain. We could have rented a fountain, but it would have cost way too much money. And then the water would have been, then we got to get a water tanker to get the water in. And also it's like, in Fahrenheit, like 20 degrees. In Celsius, what is that, like -5? It's cold. It's cold, it's cold, it's cold. What if, and this is my little stroke of genius on the thing, I was like, it's cake. It's a big welcome home Pamela Ross cake. And then what's funny too is I want to see our two the assistant and the assistants, Medi and Krista, who are so fun together. I want to see them take it all the way outside, have to take it all the way inside, kind of struggle with this heavy, heavy thing. And it's sort of like a Chekhov gun situation where you establish this thing from forever. It's always been in your frame. It's always been in your mind and your eyesight, maybe if it's subconscious or not. But they're struggling under this heavy 3-tiered cake of whatever, which then I was like, what's more vertical than cake in the face? But then we can't just have the one person do cake in the face. I want it, because they're both such big stars, Molly and Ashley. I want to give the audience what they want. If one's getting cake in the face, you better believe the other one's going to get cake in the face right back at them. So that's how the cake came to be, and it was Kubra, again, was her production designer, and she was great. Kubra and Errol was her set decorator. And I was like, I need this big 3-story cake. I need this big, tall enough of a thing for them to hold and have it feel heavy and whatever. And we had the one cake. That's all we got is one, because it was such a last minute thing, because we kept with the fountain and everything like that. So you get one try, you got to do it right. And so it was kind of that. We did everything that up until the cake smash, everything but up until I think if you look at either Molly or Ashley's Instagram, there's a moment where you can just hear me directing that scene, and you can just hear my voice, and I'm just like, guys, we have one cake here. We have I forgot how to say cake in Turkish, but beer is one. I was like, beer cake, one cake. Time to smash it up. And so it's like that was a whole it was a really fun moment, and it was really great. I'm really happy that, because also too, like, you write this thing that is to help everybody out, but they also might be like, I don't want to get cake in the face, I don't want to get cake in my hair, I don't want to get all these things. And so then I had to do something similar with Jesse Gallagher and The Gold Digger, where it was like cake in the face and cake in the hair and water in the thing. And like at any point in time, anybody could be like, hey, I don't want to do this thing. Not saying that anybody has in these moments, but sometimes they have in certain things. And I'll keep that, private,
it's an awareness. Yeah, fair enough,
And you just gotta kind of, all right, well, here's the thing. I understand that on a human level. There's a product that we're expected to make here on this level too. So it is like, how do I now find the thing that makes everybody comfortable? Mm-hmm. But to Ashley and Molly and to Jesse's credit, like, everybody's down to get a little dirty to make these stories feel rich. On the Jesse side of things, it was a much sadder occasion. On the Molly,
that was quite brutal, actually. You've reminded me of that one now. Whereas this one was
rough.
At least you get to do it back to the other person. I could see that makes it.
It's fun and it's cute. It's light. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to ask, well, there's another great moment, and I want to know whether it was scripted or came up. So we've got the rather fabulous Maria Allen, who I think owns the screen every time she comes in.
Yeah, the Queen.
Putting off Queen. I mean, that's what I'm just like, hooray for her. That's what British actresses of a certain age live for. It's like, I need to turn up in a Vertical or a Hallmark movie as a Queen.
Oh, yeah,
but there's a great moment where Molly's character, being Pamela Ross or Misha, has her little minions by now. And they meet her for the first time, and they all prostrate themselves on the ground. And it's like worshipping like ancient Egypt. Like, was that in the script, or was that just like, let's do that, let's go for it?
The directive was, when I told her, I was like, hey, they come in and you bow. And you can see Medi and Krista, the other two, are bow. And Molly, she's got such like she's like a slinky almost. The way that she can just kind of like move and fall. So she's like water, very graceful, that's all Molly Anderson. I can't take any credit for the way that she did that. But the ask was, when the Queen comes, everybody bow, but let's take it one step further and let's have it bow on the ground kind of thing. And then Molly just like really ran into it. Also, now nobody would know. You would never know by looking at these films, but on day one of the whole production between Triple Life and Back Off, we had our jail set as the same for both movies. So and then that's also the same as like our hospital stuff, that big banquet at the end of Triple Life where Rob proposes. It's really, really beautiful space. All these things is all on like one standing set location. So the producers had come up to me. They're like, okay, so here's what we have to do. We need to shoot a little bit of movie number 2 on day 1 of movie number 1. Okay. We can't come back to this location. It's going to be too much money. There's not enough stuff here to come back to. Can we squeeze it in? So I remember Molly, who has to hold all of Jenna in her head. And it's an emotional day. It's day 1 for everybody. First day in Turkey, all these things. On top of, there's a crying scene with her mom. There was the stuff with Rob getting proposed to. It's some first 10 episode stuff, so we want to make it important, the hospital stuff. And then, halfway in the middle of that day, for like 2 scenes, now you're Misha. And now you're outside in the jail courthouse with Joseph Emmons, who plays Ralph, the driver brother, and you're bailing him out of jail. I need that. I need anything Ralph in the jail. I need you to kind of be Mr. Ralph in the jail. I need you actors to flip into movie number 2 character for these 2 scenes, and then flip back into your Jenna character for the rest of the day. It was so truly impressive. Like, I've been in this industry for a little over a decade. I'm as an actor, as a director, as a production, anything. And there's very few people that I've seen actually flip into such different characters on one day and then flip right back into it. Where I was like, Molly, you have my respect forever right now. And that was day 1 of the thing. So I gotta put that out there. That was really cool and super impressive.
And that's so. I think this is. I mean, people know how talented they are, but that's why I'm so grateful for doing these interviews, because we can just share even more of what they do.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'd say about that one, I love it so much, but is I do feel a bit bad for the real Pamela Ross and Prince Matthew, because they don't really get the fun. I mean, I'm afraid I really do root for Misha and Daniel. I just want to watch their crime capers. Yeah, I want to watch them run off in the sun doing more outrageous things. I think that's the only thing I'd say about that one. They almost edge the others out because they're so brilliantly awful.
So good.
So good. He's so good at being charming, and then you start thinking, because initially you think, oh, this is a second male lead.
You're saying the other
really well
brother.
Played. And then you're like, oh, hang on, this is maybe not quite so good. It's so well done because you're never sure which way he's going to go.
That's cool. I really appreciate that. That's good. That's the intention. You want to kind of keep you on your toes. And I know that right now, Back Off and I think Triple Life are number 1 and number 2 on the platform's history of like the most viewed that they've had, which is really, really fun and exciting. But it's you're able. I totally agree. It's like I kind of wish that we were able to spend a little bit more time with the Pamela, just either Pamela and Matthew together with Connor Toohey, as we brought Connor in from the States to come over here. It was really great to like tell all these different stories. I feel like Back Off and Adopting Her Past that I did with Eric and Alexa were similarly, there's so much going on that doesn't necessarily have to do with number 1 and number 2, your 2 leads. It's a really rich, full story that it was really cool to like get to kind of be building out a world here, opposed to just telling a love story, which is lovely, wonderful too. As a director, I kind of have a chance now to explore like a little bit deeper in our bank show characters and our locations and our special effects and all that stuff.
So yeah, it was really enjoyable, that one. So thank you very much for that. So can you share with us some of your upcoming projects then?
Yeah.
You have a few coming. We need to know more.
I have, okay, I'm going to butcher the title. It is A Deal with the Hockey Bad Boy, I think is what it's called.
Yes, people on your Instagram will have seen you've been at an ice rink.
We were at an ice rink, exactly. That was for Real Short. That comes out this month with Maria Barris and Chris Corticino.
I think you just have to go for it. You have to go, Cortuccio. And just with confidence, like a football commentator.
I'll take 2. Yeah, Deal with the Hockey Bad Boy is coming out in Real Short later this month with Maria Barris and Chris Corticino. And we are really excited about that. That's really great. It's a YA, it's a young adult love story, which is great for me to like, because so much of before the Verticals was like this coming of age stories is a lot of what I would tell. And this was kind of back to my roots in that regard, where it was like set in college and it's fun and it's not about CEOs or billionaires. It was real. It felt like a real CW movie. It's really, really, really fun to make that one. I leave on Wednesday to go up to Vancouver to shoot for Kalos TV, and I know it's going to be somewhere else too, but one of them is Kalos and the other one is, don't remember at this moment. But I'm shooting with a production company.
Kalos and mini shorts normally have the same stuff.
Jen, that's exactly what it is. It's Kalos.
I am a pro. Thank you very much.
That was really impressive. That was really good. So it's Kalos and mini shorts. We're doing one. As of right now, it's called Love After Sight. And so then at this point, people already know we're bringing Alexa Reddy up to Canada.
Ooh.
So it's going to be my second time working with Alexa to do. This is a great love. It's a really cool love story where a girl saves a matriarchal grandmother character, and in doing so, falls blind and loses her sight, and falls in love with a very handsome Canadian actor who's a billionaire, and they have this now story of it's a love connection story without sight, and whether how much that plays into all of it. So I'm really excited about kind of like having a little bit of, and then we'll let you know what happens at the end of the thing when you watch it. But it's great to kind of play within a more ableist story and being able to show kind of different perspectives on like what love looks like and feels like and can be. So that is coming up next. What I'm shooting next, I have one with Drama Box. It's another YA love story.
Ooh, excellent.
What was that?
I love the YAs. Sorry, so I'm happy.
I love them too. I'm really excited to do it. And that one, it's also with Shen Li, who Shen did all of our Mistaken ones, and she also did the hockey bad boy one. So that's great. So this will be my fourth one with Shen, our first one together with Drama Box. It's another YA love story. And then after that, so that takes me to, I go Canada, Vancouver until the 19th. We start prep on the 20th for the YA one for Drama Box. I go to Tulum for 10 days just to do nothing for 10 days. And then in June, supposedly, I am starting a long-term contract with one of the bigger players to do 12 pictures where I'm going to be consistently worked for the next 2 years making these verticals. Thank you very much. Making these verticals. And then on my off months, I already have August. I'm going back to Istanbul to do 2 more. I'm really excited. I have an opportunity. I have in negotiations with Shortmax to get something on a Shortmax platform. I just got asked if I wanted to do a werewolf one in Atlanta, but I can't because I'm already doing the Drama Box one here in LA, but I really want to go to Atlanta. I really want to go to do a werewolf one. And then I spent the better part of last week back in my hometown of Chicago, Illinois, where I really want to build out a vertical infrastructure in Chicago, where Chicago's got great actors, great locations, awesome crew, and they've never done a vertical. And if I could be the guy to bring one of these 12 projects on my long-term contract to Chicago, I can start getting local work for people that desperately need the work, for filmmakers that are so great at what they do. They just need a little bit more ownership, and they need a little bit more attention on them. So I'm trying to bring some stuff out there that way. And then I also have like 4 more conversations I have a conversation with a company in Portugal and Japan and Australia as well. So I'm really just putting a lot of pins in the board here in terms of like this. But currently, as of May 5th, 2025, it looks like you'll get at least another 2 in Istanbul, 12 with the big one, 1 in Vancouver, 1 in Fujairah. So at least another 16 out of me.
Wow.
And at some point, do something else with my life, but I don't know yet what it will be.
And then also, we just need to very quickly mention, you do pop up on our screens acting as well, because you will, there's a signature thing. Got Danny in a Danny vertical. My favourite, your credit as hot guy in an elevator. That's my favourite.
Yeah.
If you're casting yourself, cast yourself as that. If you want to mention any of your acting, because obviously you do pop up on TV as well, like how do you fit that in around everything else you're doing?
I remember, so I just booked, September of last year, I booked a national Subway commercial, which was great and was so fun. And I remember we were doing the Double Life of My Secret Husband, which was on Stardust TV with Alan Williamson and Rochelle Nyborg. Great film. We shot in the middle of an earthquake. It's a really fun BTS on my Instagram. If you go, you can actually see the earthquake in the middle of the take that we didn't use. And with the Double Life, the way that it was we had 4 days on, 1 or 2 days off, 4 days on, and we were done kind of thing. So on the 1 day off, I had an in-person audition. The day after we wrapped, I had a callback. And then 2 days before I started the Mistaken Surrogate for My Billionaire Husband, I was on set and I shot the Subway commercial. So that one just happened to line up right in the middle of my availability. I had the audition, I had the callback, and I had the shoot day, all in between these verticals, which was really great. Other than that, though, I've acted in a bunch of TV shows and movies. I'm in a movie right now that's playing on Apple TV and Amazon and Google. It's called The Eighth Day. When we shot it, it was called And on the 10th Day, but then they shortened it. The Eighth Day is a 90s crime drama directed by Alexandra Chando. The 80s is a 90s crime drama directed by Alexandra Chando. We shot it in New Mexico. I play a character called JD, who's a simple Southern talking, bit of a he's just got a bit of a love for Phoebe Tonkin's character, but nevertheless he doesn't get her. So that's a fun little role. A couple of the TV stuff that I did are already out, and I'm just trying to get a couple more points up on the board on that side of things. I have an audition this afternoon, actually, in person for a play that I definitely won't have time to do, but my agents are like, you got to go. And so I will be given a monologue on stage for the first time in 4.5 years. So that's exciting and nerve-wracking all at the same time.
So my final question is, how do you organise your diary? Is it digital? Is it paper? Is it on your phone? Because it's like, what country am I in and what am I doing?
It is complicated for sure. And I think my family also knows, where they're like, we don't know if we could, just let us know when you could talk, because but I like iCalendar. I like iCal. The Apple Calendar.
These are the little details I need, you see. Like, how does Danny organise it? Or iCal is his secret, and then we get you the Apple sponsorship, you see. It's all worked.
Very cool. Apple, sponsor me, please. Would be great.
Thinking it through. I just want to say thank you so much for your time. You've been absolutely phenomenal and shared so much, and everyone's going to love this. So thank you.
Jen, one more time for everybody, thank you for all the things. I remember, and we didn't really talk about it in this one, but when we first talked, we were in Istanbul, and you and I hopped on a phone call. And it was lovely. And at the end of the phone call, we were on lunch in between scenes, and Molly walked into lunch, and I go, do you want to meet Molly Anderson? And you were like, yes. And I put the phone down, and I was like, Molly, you cool to talk to Jen real quick? She goes, Jen, I love Jen. And so it was very sweet to introduce you guys and have you guys talk to each other. And I from the bottom of my heart, we love you so much, and we think what you do is so rad, and just keep it up, because I think the really interesting, fascinating thing about what you're doing too is nobody's asking you to do this, and you're putting so much of your heart into it, and it's so appreciated that I hope nothing but success for you and your page and whatever the show is, and your own career in journalism and entertainment. I think you have such a spot for it. Clearly the BBC thinks so too. It's very, very admirable what you're doing. So from the other half of the world, we love you and we thank you.
Oh, thank you.